Okay, we're progressing nicely here, but we need to do the eyebrows, and so I'm going to reduce the opacity here. I'm going to show you another little technique for the eyebrows. I'm going to make these a little different color because I have it up in the hair, and that's okay. A lot of times the eyebrows can be really expressive and sometimes completely off of the head altogether. In this case, it's going to be in the hair, and if I make it the same color, it's not going to be too good. So what I'm going to do right off the bat is I'm going to darken up the my color that I'm going to work with. I'll make a new layer, and I've got the other ones reduced opacity so I can see through it. And I'm going to take this pen tool, and again, I want to leave this on path because that gives me a lot of flexibility. And I'm going to left click and drag just like we were. Left click and drag. Then I'm going to hold Alt down, change the direction, left click and drag. Let's zoom in a little bit here. I'm just going to left click, and then I'm going to Alt left click and drag again. And then I'm going to finish by Alt left clicking and dragging so I can get this curve. Now, I was using the selection tool, but if I use the shape tool, it will automatically fill it with this color. So I save a step. So I just want you to know that both of those. So I'm going to hit shape, and it automatically fills. But if it's not exactly what I want, the exact same shape that I drew or wanted, I can go up here to the direct select again, and I can click on, and there's anchor points just like we talked about. I can modify these, get them a little more expressive or a little thicker, do whatever I want with them. So I can do that. Then if I go back to the pen tool here, I'm gonna make another one over here. Alt left click, drag, Alt left click, drag, Alt left click, drag, and we'll come up here and Alt left click to fill that. And again, I could go to the direct select, and I can modify that if it's not exactly where I want it to be. I can change that around. So that is the path tool and the pen tool. And see, even after I'm done with that one, I can still come up and modify either one of these. All right. Now what I want to do is come down here, and I want to talk a little bit about doing just a single line. Now, it probably maybe if you're struggling a little bit, it may just be just about as easy to use the pen tool, and let's see where we are. Where are we? There we are. And I can click, and I can click, and then I can make it just a little bit thicker. So I can click, make that mouth out here. Click and Alt, left click and drag. And I can do the same thing that we've been doing, only this, change it to black. Okay, but like for the nose and things, we may want to do a little different method. So you could do that just like any other shape, but I'm going to go back in time here. And what I want to do is I want to set my brush to a hard edge, and I want it to be basically the thickness of this line. So I'm just going to make a much simpler line. So I'm going to use the bracket keys or the brace keys right beside the letter P. The open brace is smaller and the closed brace is bigger, and so just basically get this to about the size that I'd like this line to be. And now this is reasonably quick, but it is another technique, so I hope I'm not throwing too much at you. I take the pen tool, I left click and drag, I left click and drag, I get that the shape that I want it, and then I'm going to go to the path palette. And so right here by layers, we go to channels and path, and there's that work path. And so we could save that and reuse that if we never needed to, but I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say stroke the path, and then I'm going to say instead of pencil is going to give me a really thin line. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to brush, and it's going to take on the characteristics of whatever brush I happen to have. And if I have tablet, I can use pressure sensitive, and I could actually get a thick and thin line, and I can get almost a hand-drawn look by never hand drawing it. So, but I'm going to hit brush. I want to make sure that my brush is set to hard edge and about the size that I want, and I'm going to hit OK, and there's my line. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the nose, and I'm just going to make a nose. So I do want to get this to be the size I want before, because once I do apply the brush, I'm not going to be able to modify the path anymore. I can modify the path, I'm just not going to modify the line. I'd have to erase the line again. So there's, we got the nose. I'm going to right click, go to stroke the subpath, but actually it's making a subpath, so what I need to do is I just need to make a new path altogether on a new layer, and that way I won't get that subpath. I'm sorry, I don't want to cause you problems here. So I'm going to again modify this. And now right click, go to stroke path. I'm going to use the brush and hit OK. And there's my nose. So let's get out of here now. Let's zoom out a bit, see where we are. And let's bring up the opacity level on all these.